Lieutenant Governor, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
You know, we know the crisis is bad and it doesn't stay at the border because these people go everywhere. And in Florida, in fact, we see people coming up on our shorelines from Cuba and all over, risking their lives. Very dangerous situations. As we look at the fallout from the Supreme Court's decision on the Remain in Mexico policy, the court, just last week, as you know, ruling Biden can end that. The governor here in Florida, Ron DeSantis, took some action. And now the Florida Supreme Court has granted his request to impanel this grand jury focused on illegal immigration and human smuggling. What is going to happen? People are obviously very interested in what is happening and what power this gives you guys.
Well, as you pointed out, it is no longer just Texas that has to deal with the illegal immigration that Biden's ineptitude has created. Every state is technically a border state. Here in Florida, we've seen so many people. The federal government themselves have transported them illegally under the cloak of darkness. And so the governor has done what he can do as governor of the great state of Florida to not only impanel a statewide grand jury to begin to investigate and provide us with opportunities to deal with this, but he's also developed strike teams to interdict human trafficking and smuggling that's going on in our interstates, and making sure that when we receive illegal immigrants here at the hands of Biden, we have the authority. The legislature gave us the funding to be able to transport them to Delaware, his home state. So we're doing everything we can here in Florida, but it is indeed a crisis. And the fact that Biden refuses to acknowledge it, the fact that he refuses to take action, we have historic numbers of illegal immigrants that are flowing through our border. It is a crisis of a tremendous magnitude, and that's something that we need to consider as a state. Take action and make sure that we're doing everything we can at our disposal to begin to stem that tide.
Can I spend a moment, too, on this human smuggling? Because not only is it, we're seeing, the border, which is a massive issue, but we've seen cases that have broken through even mainstream media of girls who have broken free after being held captive. We saw a terrible case in Texas, and the human smuggling is something that, mainstream media does not want to look at. This administration does not want to look at, but it's a real problem, especially in Florida. Can you just spend a moment and tell us about the victims here who are come across and who are trafficked?
Yeah, absolutely. And when Biden and his cronies on the left try to make this an issue of compassion, humanitarian, what they're not addressing is indeed the human smuggling, the commercial sexual exploitation that is taking place, not just in Florida, across the country. Florida ranks third in terms of calls to the National Human Trafficking Hotline. We are doing everything we can in our state to not only empower law enforcement to address this issue and prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law, we're also doing a lot in terms of education and outreach. So like I mentioned, we have that strike team. We have law enforcement, we've got sheriffs, we've got our highway patrol, everyone coming together. And every day you see the impact on illegal immigration here in Florida, which is why we've been so insistent that the federal government needs to do its job. Biden needs to address this crisis. He cannot continue to have an open borders policy that is impacting hardworking taxpayers in our state and others.
Here in the state, though, when it comes to abortion and Roe v. Wade, a Florida judge, as you know, blocked a 15-week abortion ban just days after it took effect. And now there's going to be, the state where he says the state violated the state constitution. It was a right to privacy here. Just yesterday, we saw people, during July 4th, instead of celebrating independence, Lieutenant Governor, they were marching from Orlando to Tampa protesting Florida's law and the recent Roe v. Wade ruling. So where does that stand, and what can you and Governor DeSantis do for the pro-life movement?
Well, while we were disappointed, of course, at the ruling, we were not shocked. It's an extremely liberal judge. He rules against the state every chance he gets. And so his interpretation and the previous Supreme Court, which is prior to the governor appointing conservative justices that were going to follow the rule of law, That previous Supreme Court interpreted that right to privacy as a right to an abortion. We do not believe that any interpretation will provide a right to murder unborn children. So the governor is obviously going to appeal to this Supreme Court, ask them to reverse their previous precedent in terms of the right to privacy, allowing for abortions. And we stand by the bill that we passed this session. And the governor has also mentioned that we're looking to do more in terms of protections for the unborn, to provide an opportunity for those millions and millions of babies that were murdered, for them to be born, for them to grow into productive citizens. We stand strongly in terms of the right to life.
To be continued. So an appeal is in the works. We appreciate your time. Jeanette Nuñez, Florida's Lieutenant Governor. As always, pleasure to have you on with us. Thank you.
Thank you.